I wanted to talk about the future of work, the connected enterprise. And you may say, what's this dude from Facebook doing up on stage? It's an enterprise conference. So, not trying to stop you from going to lunch, but if you're anything like me, when you came in to Orlando, you would have told all your Facebook friends about it, checked in. You may have posted a picture of a palm tree on Instagram. And then last night, you may have said good night to your spouse or your kids on a Messenger video call. Now, when you think about how Facebook has transformed your communication in your personal life, and it has done so profoundly, not just for some millennials or new people kind of showing up, growing up, but in fact, my kids are doing video calls with their grandparents. And if you hand them a normal phone, a normal handset, they'll look at it and say, where's the screen on that? So it's become very, very normal in our personal lives. And half of us, as we're discussing the future of the connected enterprise in this room, is still emailing their coworkers as you would have 20 years ago. While frankly, I bet the other half of this room is frustrated about tool proliferation in the organization and shadow IT that's popping up everywhere. You'll have some software developers somewhere in the organization that use an IRC-style chat. You'll have comms people who will have launched some social intranet 5 years ago that no one's using. And you have IT buyers trying to introduce some enterprise solution. That's not connected. That can't be the future of how we work. That can't be the basis of how we really transform enterprises and stay competitive these days. And so as I talk about our vision for the future, I recognize I'm not the first person to show up here and do that. There's been many people before me that have come, some that have gone again. So the question is, like, why should you listen today? Like, how is this different? And so let me give you an analogy. Anyone remember Napster? 1999? That was the future of music. That was how you're going to consume music. Music is free, always available, comes online, you can listen to anything you want. Well, stayed around for about 4 years, failed miserably. And then more sophisticated products came along with proper business models. But not only did Spotify, Apple, and others sort out some of the inherent business model challenges, the privacy challenges, the piracy challenges in Napster, but in fact, they delivered a great customer experience. So why am I saying that? It's just because there was a trend early on that spotted a people need. Doesn't mean that a chapter of flawed execution suggests that that trend wasn't real. In fact, the need from people to have music at their fingertips, always available, not having to pay for every song, it was very real. And ultimately, experiences were created that worked for people with strong execution. So don't dismiss a trend just because the initial execution didn't work. Think about what the underlying need is that people really have. So when we talk about workplace, we start with people. People are in the center of what we do. And we do know people quite well and what products and experiences they like. There's more than 2 billion people use Facebook every month. There's more than 1 billion people use WhatsApp and Messenger every month. So we launched Workplace 18 months ago to connect people in their work life and give you a similarly strong experience as you have had in your personal life. And if you look at the product that's playing up on the screen, you'll recognize you need no demo, you need no introduction. Workplace looks intuitively familiar to you. On the left-hand side, you have a few navigational elements and the most important groups to what you do at work. In the middle, you have a newsfeed that summarizes what's going on in the enterprise. On the right-hand side, you have some notices and functionality. So instead of going through a demo showing you how to write a post, how to like a post, or how to comment on something, or even showing you how those comments will be translated from French, Japanese, or any other language, You already know how that works. So I rather want to talk about that familiarity being the aspect that allows you to deploy Workplace to everybody in your company. It results in very high adoption and usage. Now you'll say, well, but that's a consumer product. Like, I'm not going to install that in my enterprise environment. So I want to talk about what convinced more than 30,000 organizations already in the short time that we've been on the market, including Walmart, Starbucks, Delta, Farmers Insurance, many other similar companies around the world to deploy Workplace. It's based off of 5 principles that we build Workplace on. There's security, inclusiveness, mobile, transparency, and integrations. I'll briefly touch on each of them. Let's take security. Now, Facebook may be more known for its hacker culture, for the fast speed and the incredible innovation. And in fact, we do release new features and new code to Facebook and Workplace every day. Every day. But security still is the underlying foundation, even for Facebook in your personal life. The security and privacy is very important to you. So all these investments of thousands of engineers and billions of dollars are also the underlying architecture of security of Workplace that makes it secure. We build our own servers and our own data centers completely from the ground up, using no vendor's parts. And it's given us an architecture of core security that is very strong. So Workplace, for our customers, is a completely separate instance of Facebook. And it has completely separate identities. You do not need to be a member of Facebook to use Workplace. In fact, Workplace integrates into your enterprise IT stack. The users will be provisioned through your Active Directory or your IDP. Access will be governed by your policies, be enabled through SSO. And all the cloud security systems that monitor any other activity in your IT systems work with Workplace. Integrates with your Caspi's, eDiscovery, whatever you want. And it's therefore been certified by all the certifications that you would look for. It's ISO certified, SOC 2, SOC 3, obviously meets the EU Privacy Shield, and meets GDPR regulations as well. So there is no question, this is an enterprise-grade platform. The second principle I want to talk about is inclusiveness. Truly magical things happen when you give everyone a voice. And let me show you what I mean by giving everyone a voice by showing you how Workplace is used at Starbucks, who launched Workplace about a year ago.
I just love being a store manager at Starbucks. But I think we just stay in our own little bubble, our own little store. Now, thanks to Workplace, I feel like my peer group has just expanded incredibly. I have the opportunity to reach out to a store manager down in Texas or in Miami who might be able to support me and to be inspired by what others are doing.
At Starbucks, we have over 80% of our store managers using Workplace on a weekly basis. We can communicate instantly right into the hands of our store partners, and then they are better able to serve our customers. Having a platform like Workplace that is rooted in connection, it is right at the heart of what makes us better, makes us who we are.
We were hungry for that connection to each other. With Workplace, I really feel that it's making us a better team.
Kevin Johnson, CEO at Starbucks, has told us about plenty of examples where certain innovation, a certain decision, no longer took weeks or months to do, but was made in a single day. So as I talk about mobile, I want to kind of illustrate that many of the people who use Workplace previously didn't even have an email address. And people use it while they're on the road. You may be a truck driver delivering groceries to a Safeway. They use it on factory floors, on food production lines. They use it in retail locations. The largest company in retail, the largest private employer on the planet, is Walmart. They're using Workplace, just to give you an example, for live video, where their leaders can now communicate to everybody in the organization using Workplace live video that you may be familiar with from Facebook live video. And it gives people, no matter where they are, including the store managers in the Sam's Club and Walmart stores, an opportunity to dial into the leadership communication and react to it and comment on it right there from their phones. That would have been hard to do to install video conferencing equipment in many of those thousands of retail locations to achieve the same thing. And otherwise, who responds to an email of a CEO or says, "That's a great idea," or "Nice job," or just ask questions in those interactions? Leadership communication is obviously incredibly valuable and reduces the distance from leaders to frontline staff, which is one of the key things you want to achieve to be more competitive in today's world. But that's only one of the very, very many use cases of how retailers use Workplace. Retailers use Workplace for new product introductions. Say there's a new monitor, there's a new conferencing system that the retailer is introducing in their retail locations. A retailer is using Workplace to have a salesperson at headquarters go live on Workplace, deliver a killer sales pitch, and the sales associates on the floor can see that demo from their phone. They can react, they can ask questions, just as in leadership communication. Obviously, somewhat more effective than sending a one-pager PDF with 4 bullet points on how to sell the product. Retailers are using Workplace for product recalls, where a retailer has integrated Workplace with their ERP system. And in a case of a product recall, the store manager gets a notification in Work Chat and needs to respond that they've taken that product off the shelf. Retailers use Workplace to correct pricing errors more quickly. Those happen. So a retailer has a group that the employees can simply take a picture of the product in and post it, and the central team can rectify pricing errors much more quickly. There's thousands of more use cases, and I'm just mentioning these because they illustrate that companies now run their business on Workplace. Let me talk about transparency. And transparency really gets to the heart of getting work done inside Workplace. And the key to understand that is groups. Groups, much more so than in your personal Facebook, where you just post on your timeline and we share it to your friends. Groups are the core of Workplace. Everything in Workplace happens in groups. And groups are very different from chat. We have chat also, that's called Work Chat, that mimics Messenger, and you all know it. But groups are the equivalent to Facebook. And groups are critical because groups give any interaction context and purpose. A group may be the entire company. That's great for leadership communication. It may be your department. That's probably great for you discussing your priorities for the department for the next 3 to 6 months. A group can be a small team. It can be your leadership team, can be a small project team. And projects and initiatives form another context set of groups where work really gets done. And it's a very different paradigm from chat. Groups are much more persistent. They're great for asynchronous communication instead of real time. So people post things, and obviously the post is distinguished from the reactions and the comments. And other people that work with you on that project can weigh in their own time, not in a hectic way in some messaging stream where they fear that if I don't mention something right now, my opinion will be lost and it'll be too late. At the same time, obviously, those posts are there. They're recorded. They provide context and history for new people joining the team. And everything is very naturally organized, how you know it kind of from your consumer Facebook. These groups, just on the previous point, they obviously come in different privacy forms. There's open groups, great for entire team communication. There's closed groups for your project teams. There's secret groups for more confidential pieces. So we have the structure that works for all purposes. We even have multi-company groups. So I can set up a group with a different company, as we have with a lot of our partners. For example, for our partnership with Blue Jeans, we have a joint group with them. For partnership with Dropbox, we do the same. Partnership with Salesforce, we have a group where we discuss our partnership and our integrations with the folks of those companies in a joint multi-company group. Now, I've clicked ahead too quickly, but it is the most important conversation of these principles that we have today. Integrations. Why is that so important? Well, because you've all invested millions and millions of dollars in your IT stack. And you need these products that you've invested in to work together. And in fact, no one today wants one walled garden anymore. You don't want to invest just into one vendor and being tied to that vendor for the foreseeable future. You have plenty of IT systems in all your organizations. So the better they work together, the more intuitive they work together for your people, the higher the adoption, the higher your ROI. Let's start with a very basic example, files. Files are obviously essential to what we do at work. And so in Workplace, people share files from many systems. In this example, from Box. So when you share a file in a Workplace post, a picker comes up, the Workplace native file picker. You can pick the file from directly out of Box. You can share it with your colleagues. Your colleagues can see the file in the native Box previewer. So the file can be selected and shared seamlessly without ever leaving the secure Box environment. We do this with OneDrive, with SharePoint, with G Suite, with Google Drive. We do it with Dropbox and Box and others that will join that. So you can jointly collaborate on those files and comment on them, edit them, without actually leaving the stream of the communication, which was the project group you'd set up in the first place. We even determine if the people in this group have access to those files and vice versa. And we obviously respect the access rights you've given, and we synchronize those if you desire. Let's talk about another integration for video conferencing. Whether you're using Zoom or BlueJeans, other partners of ours, BlueJeans is one of our favorites, where you can go on a BlueJeans conference call and you can stream the video conference directly live on Workplace. It's obviously recorded, as all Workplace Live is. So for people who couldn't be at that meeting, maybe traveling to Asia, they're in a different time zone, they can see this meeting afterwards, and the conversation can continue to happen in this Workplace group. Because typically a meeting isn't a standalone thing. You called the meeting within a project for a reason. You wanted to achieve something, and then work continues to happen after that meeting. So you can use the Workplace group to coordinate and continue the work on that meeting asynchronously. It's nothing easier than recording that meeting into BlueJeans. Thank you guys for that partnership. If you actually want to know more about it, we have a joint booth with BlueJeans downstairs that we're happy to talk to you about it. And then take this a couple steps further. Think about where the enterprise SaaS ecosystem is going. The SaaS applications that we're using day-to-day at work are really exploding, which makes it more and more challenging for people to actually manage those, because they all have different UIs. Take expense management. Who likes filing expense reports? Why do we hate that? Why do we never do that? Because it's more difficult than it should be. Why can't I just use a bot in WorkChat to do my expense report, and I'll have the expense filed while I'm still waiting for the barista to finish the coffee? Now, expense report systems are a great example. There's many fantastic SaaS applications out there that you could use. The problem is your people won't be installing those guys' apps. We know from your consumer life, you will install 3 to 5 apps on your phone. That's it. So what Workplace can offer you is a simple UI where the most important use cases out of that SaaS application can be accessed in kind of your favorite tool that you're in day-to-day anyway. So as we're evolving our platform and opening our platform, SaaS application providers can use Workplace as that simple UI to drive the adoption and the utility of their products. And for any deeper use cases, by all means, link into the application. You can brand these are your customers, you can kind of own this experience. So at the abstract level, it allows you to bring the SaaS workflows of the hundreds and eventually thousands of SaaS applications that you have in your organization to where the people already are, to make it easier for people to interact with them. That's great for one-click interactions, that drive adoption and again improve the ROI. So at Facebook, we have a saying that we're 1% done. We even believe that for the core product. So as successful as we've been over the short 18 months that we've really been live with Workplace as the product that you know today, we know this has only been the beginning of the journey. We launched Workplace in October 2016 after an early adopter beta program. Just last year, we announced the first integrations with Box, Office, G Suite, Quip, Dropbox, Salesforce. And in May this year, we'll be expanding those integrations to dozens more and adding more functionality to our platform at our developer conference, F8. But let me tackle two important partnerships and relationships right now, which is Microsoft and Google. We recognize we're the new kid on the block. And many of you already use Office 365 day-to-day in your enterprise, use G Suite. So I get this question a lot. Do I need Workplace? I have these. And I'll be honest with you, that's my favorite question. It's the best thing I can hear. When a CIO tells me, I love Microsoft, I'll say, I do too. Bob's my best friend. Now, kidding aside, let me be really clear. Workplace does not compete with Office or G Suite. In fact, these are great products. We use Office 365 every day at Facebook. You can imagine which program this presentation was built in. And we use those products every day because they're great productivity tools. So think of Workplace as it seamlessly integrates into Office and G Suite as the fabric, the communication collaboration layer of your enterprise. Whereas you get the identity out of an Office or G Suite, you get productivity tools out of each of these suites. And the package together really increases the productivity of your company. You maximize adoption, and better things happen. We call it better together. And so many companies have already chosen to deploy Workplace. And they do this because it works for all their people. These companies have been on journeys. They are rolling out Workplace to the entire organization. And you can imagine what different personas that involves. That may be software developer at headquarters together with accountants. It may be salespeople in the field. It may be flight attendants. It may be ground staff. But Workplace gives you a platform that everybody knows how to use, which is why these companies have decided to make it their primary communication layer. We have a CEO in one of the companies on this chart who is no longer reading internal email. He's shut off his internal email. If you want to ping him, go on WorkChat or on Workplace. We have companies that are truly transitioning their way of working, and some that have already deployed Workplace to their entire organization use Workplace more than we do at Facebook, if you measure the hours per person per week, which I actually find scary, but it is true. The other thing you'll notice about this chart is we have companies in all industries using Workplace. Companies very large, companies small. We have companies that have been around for more than 100 years. We have companies that are hot new growth companies. And there's companies on all continents. Because at its core, Workplace simply works for the people. This is one of our posters, one of the principles we believe in at Facebook. I'll close with that same point where I started. The connected workplace isn't about technology. It's not about the I or the T. We believe in people over pixels. The purpose of technology is to serve people, not the other way around. So if you think about the future of your company, if you think about the future of work, I'd encourage you not to think about the technology. Think about how to empower the people around you. Think about how you unleash that human potential that is in your organization. Because I firmly believe that that is the core to how you remain relevant and competitive in this ever faster moving world. And so I'll just leave you with this one story of how one organization is using Workplace and how they've seen an impact from it.
I love working with Save the Children because children always remind you how you should be. to be honest, to be inquisitive, to be enthusiastic. The magnitude of the problems that we are facing is huge, so we constantly need great ideas to overcome them. There are good practices everywhere. When I first used Workplace by Facebook, I realized that I had thousands of colleagues from around the world who were doing exciting and wonderful things. Workplace gives us an opportunity to share all of that in real time.
In an organization like Save the Children, culture is critically important. Workplace has really given a voice to all the employees, whether they're in a remote field office or in a headquarters. Workplace gives people an opportunity not only to share knowledge, but to share themselves.
On Workplace, you get a sense that what you're doing is of value not just in your city, but across the globe. The most rewarding moment is to see them smile.
Thank you very much. Enjoy your lunch and look forward to seeing you at the Blue Jeans booth. Thank you.